And when life knocked you down, jump back up and said, it's not over until I win.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? Welcome to the Goals Over Benzos YouTube channel, where I'll be running a marathon every weekend and training for a full distance Ironman triathlon. But most importantly, I'll be talking about recovering from benzo withdrawal and hopefully encouraging somebody else to do the same. It is a beautiful morning here in Kingsland, Georgia. The birds are chirping, the yellow flies are stinging, which is why I am wearing a jacket in the summertime. I'm actually recording this a day early because I gotta take my laptop into the shop today, so I'd rather be a day early than a day late. So anyways, today I am gonna be talking about why I got off benzos in the first place. Last week I talked about why I started running in withdrawal, and now I want to talk about why I got off benzos in the first place. Okay, so if it was up to me, I would have stayed on benzos for the rest of my life. Because let's face it, benzos, if it wasn't for tolerance withdrawal and inevitably always running out of pills, like I always did, benzos did the damn job, right? They're an anti-anxiety medication. I would never describe, like, when I took benzos, I never described myself as getting high off them per se. Now, I took Klonopin, and when I took Xanax, I would say like, okay, yeah, I would say I was a little high off Xanax just because it made me feel so sedated. But Klonopin, it just kind of took the edge off enough to where I finally felt comfortable in my own skin. I felt relaxed. I had more energy because like all the anxiety and neuroses and all that can be pretty exhausting. So with all that gone, I had all this new energy, super outgoing. I no longer had a filter, which got me like a filter of my mouth, which got me in a lot of trouble. But it was also, let's face it, a lot of fun. But inevitably, I started off with 0.5 milligrams, and over almost a 7-year period, I got to the point where I was having to take 4 at a time, 4 milligrams at a time, 8 milligrams in a day, 4 at a time, sometimes 6 at a time if I was hungover, because I was also a raging alcoholic. And so things just got way out of hand. I inevitably always ran out of pills before I could refill a prescription. And as y'all know, I would get a taste of what withdrawal was like involuntarily when I would run out. And I wanted no part of it. And when people, I didn't know, this was before benzo withdrawal support groups online. I couldn't find anybody who was experiencing the same thing that I was, trying to come off pills. My therapist didn't understand the intensity of it. The doctors damn sure didn't understand. He was like, you'll feel like you want to die for about 5 days, and then you'll start to feel better after that. Well, let me tell you, for one, I had a seizure on that same doctor's floor one day when I involuntarily ran out of pills. The seizure was so bad that it broke my back in 2 places and dislocated my jaw, sending me to the emergency room. And on another occasion, I've been to the ER literally countless times from running out of this stuff. And on one occasion, I actually had to spend 50 days in jail because I got arrested for nothing crazy. I was just driving on a suspended license, and so I had to spend 50 days in jail. And I was like, all right, well, this sucks, but hey, maybe this will actually force me to have to go through these withdrawals and I'll come out a new man. Didn't happen, okay? I was the the level of hell that I experienced with withdrawals on day 1 of jail was the exact same of hell on day 50 in withdrawal. It never let up. So that's luckily I had some Klonopin waiting for me at the house when I got out, but that's when it really like cemented in my mind, oh, this is a life sentence. I'm going to be on this medication for the rest of my life. When people were asking me and begging me, my own family begging me to get off the medication, it's like, look, man, you guys might as well be asking me to walk through a cement wall or to jump off the Empire State Building and miraculously grow a pair of wings on the way down so I don't die. What you guys are asking me is an actual impossibility. It is impossible for me to get off this medication. And I might be able to get off, but I'm going to be in a living hell and I will never be able to function in the world again. And it would really piss me off it wouldn't piss me off, but it would just make me feel so alone when I would go to like AA and NA and try to express like, I want to get better like you guys, okay? I see you guys changing your whole life around, but I'm dealing with something different here. This is a whole different animal. You guys are going through the withdrawals and coming out the other side in like 3 days. And you guys are getting the pat on the backs and good job, you got through it. But when I go through what I go through, I can't even leave my bed. I can't even leave my room for months. And I don't get high fives. I don't get pats on the backs from counselors and therapists and doctors. I get, why are you being so lazy? Why won't you get out of bed? Why aren't you even trying? What's wrong with you? Let me tell you something, man. And this is not to undermine the hardship of alcoholism or heroin withdrawals or cocaine addiction, any of that. It's nothing like that, okay? I'm just trying to bring a little bit of awareness to this fucking world about benzo withdrawals. If alcohol withdrawal was a pissed off Rottweiler, right? Then benzo withdrawal is a 3-headed ferocious fucking dragon, okay? There is no comparison to alcohol withdrawal and benzo withdrawal. None, okay? I've read at least 4 or 5 people talking about they would rather get cancer again. These are cancer survivors talking about, I would rather get cancer again than go through another day of this shit. There is a lady on YouTube who shares the same type of videos that I'm doing of bringing awareness. She has been to actual war, and she was like, this is scarier than combat. She talked about her own experience of, the trauma of getting raped. And she was like, this was worse than getting raped. Okay? Benzo withdrawal is straight up evil. The only words that I call it the spiritual holocaust. And that doesn't even do it justice. There are no words to describe this shit. It is straight up from Satan. Now here's the thing though. And this was my mental approach to withdrawal pretty much from day 1. As I was in the fetal position on my dad's couch, terrified out of my mind, whole world spinning around me. In my mind, it took a lot for me to get to the point to finally say, I'm going to rehab and I'm getting off this medication. It was really, I had no choice. It was either this or kill myself. So, as you can imagine, my commitment level was like 200%. It was either, I had it was do or die. So when I was laying on that couch, and the fetal position days, as I call them, in my mind, it was like, if I can get through this, then I can get through anything. Life will never, ever be this hard again. There is nothing on this planet that could happen to me that could be worse than this. Because this is unbearable. But as the days kept on going, day 2, day 36, day 45, in my mind, I was like, I've done the impossible 45 times. I have bared the unbearable 53 times, 83 times, 96 times. You talk about rite of passage. Men talk about rite of passage in life. Benzo withdrawal is the rite of passage for all things difficult. Now, if you know me personally, or you have gotten to know me over the years online, then you might be watching this and you might be like, okay, well, if you can get through anything now, and if nothing is impossible now, then how come you haven't rejoined society yet? How come you won't even talk to your friends very much on Zoom? How come you don't go to family gatherings? You know, all that kind of stuff. And the answer is because after all these years, I am still injured. I still am recovering from this severe injury, both physically and mentally. More so mentally than physically now. The physical symptom that I still have is if I take off these glasses and I look at my surroundings, I get very overstimulated. It almost feels like I have static, like little electricity almost behind my eyeballs, and it makes things very overwhelming for me. I need to wear these glasses because it dims the light and it just makes everything more tolerable. So that's really only the only physical symptom that I still have, which, if you're watching this, I hope that's some encouragement, because that's not that bad. But mentally, I believe that I have PTSD from this situation. And I know I have enough self-awareness and have enough experience with this kind of thing to know that I lack the tools right now. Let me just make sure this thing's recording. Okay, it is. I know that I lack the tools at this moment in time to deal with it myself. I'm not a licensed professional therapist. I'm not some psychiatrist major, okay? I don't know what I'm doing. And I have developed enough love and compassion for myself that I'm not just going to subject myself to pain needlessly, okay? And that is what rejoining society would be right now. It would be a lot of pain because I have a lot of panic issues still. And now I will walk through the fire. I have no problem stepping out of the comfort zone and all that, pushing my limits, if there's a point to it. If it has something to do with growing my business or helping somebody in the benzo community, then yeah, I'll go through the fire. I mean, people in the Goals Over Benzos group know how I get before I get on discovery calls with potential clients. It's a nerve-wracking thing for me, but I put myself through it because it's just something you got to do. But if it's just for old Dick and Tom's barbecue down the street, no, man. I am in protection mode, okay? I am in self-protection mode. I am healing. But that's not to say it's not impossible. I know one lady messaged me this morning, and she has rejoined the land of the living. It looks to me like she's doing very, very well. And she says that's thanks to something called the DNRS program, where basically I think the gist of it is it rewires your brain and your limbic system to deal with things like trauma. So, anyways, we've covered a lot of ground today. I really appreciate you guys. You can see these freaking yellow flies, man, are tearing me up. I gotta get running here. Thank you so much for joining and stopping by and checking out this channel, seeing what it has to offer. And if you guys are going through benzo withdrawal or know somebody who's going through benzo withdrawal, just hang in there, man. It gets so much easier.
And hope that you don't suffer, but take the pain. I hope when